Dear listener, how are you and how is the family? Who am I kidding? This isn't some love letter. It's a suicide note. Darkness and blood. The sound of my cry must be music to your ears, drowning in this flood. A flood of my own tears. The irritation my skin now feels when a man runs his finger over it. I've known pain a million times, but let me share 3. The first was when my father let that ugly looking malam tear off the foreskin from in between my thighs. You have to stay pure and holy. It's for your own protection. You have to be a virtuous woman. I was reduced to being defined by my sexual organs and my predestined design to end up as a wife. All I've known is strife. The second time I nearly lost my life. With my throat to a knife, I didn't know if it was pain, fear, hate, or disappointment that I felt. How a man I called Baba, my own uncle, could rip off my dress and ruin my innocence is something I would never fathom. How then do I know love? How then do I wake up from a nightmare when I'm afraid to die in my sleep? That brings me to the third time, not the last time, but one of the worst times, a time I still live in. Waking up daily to the emotional abuse from Baba Amina, my husband. He insisted I never called him a pet name, never baby. How could I when I was young enough to be his baby? But it didn't just end at the insults, ridicule and neglect. I lost the child to his punches, constantly went through pain from his boots, and tied by religion. Who am I then to speak the truth? But as I lay in the pool of my own blood tonight, thinking on how my only sin was being born a woman, I know no longer what it is to be human. All I've known is abuse, mutilation, and violence, but I put some makeup over my scars and mascara and a veil over my face. I'm with no name, a voice of a woman lost in this maze. But even this day I die, I want you to know my tale. Yours sincerely, victim.
And while there is a moral aspect to gender-based violence, there is also a legal aspect to it. Do you know that you can spend the rest of your life in jail if you rape that girl? And raping is not just about using your penis. It is also penetrating another person's vagina, anus, or even mouth with any part of your body or anything at all. You will not patronize her unless you penetrate her. My guy, na rape. You have decided to impersonate her husband or his wife. My guy, na rape. You didn't get her consent, or you forced the consent, or you drugged her. My guy, na still rape. Some of you have decided that what you want to be doing is to be beating your wife or your husband. Do you know that you can spend the next 5 years in prison or even 100,000 naira fine because you beat your wife? Some of you have decided that the job you want to be doing now is female genital mutilation. Do you know that you can spend the next 4 years in prison if you continue with that? Or even 200,000 naira fine? If you chase your wife come off your house, or you chase your husband come off your house, do you know that you can spend 2 years in prison because of that? Or even a fine of 300,000. The beautiful thing about Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act is that it compensates the victim. And this act has made so many provisions to ensure that gender-based violence is curbed. But despite all these provisions, There's not so much the law can do except with the help of you and
I want you to know my tale. Yours sincerely, Victim.